Quest 3's mixed reality is filled with controversy. Is it class leading, or is it grainy and off-putting? Is it a great feature, or is it just a bit of a gimmick? Well, hopefully by the end of this video, I would have given you some answers to those questions. In this video, I'll be showing you a bunch of ways that I use mixed reality, and hopefully giving you some tips and tricks so you can make the most of it too. Now, before we start, in this video, we will be using a Meta Quest 3S. Meta have very kindly partnered with me for this video, and Meta provided me with a Meta Quest 3S. I do also have my own Meta Quest 3S and a Quest 3 as well, because I love these products, so anything I say is my own opinion on the matter. However, I need to make you aware that that one was sent to me by Meta. Thank you very much, Meta. It helps support the channel. Now, if you like, we will start with the elephant in the room. Go away. I'm just talking to myself, I'm absolutely mental. Now, the elephant in the room is the quality of the pass-through. I get so many comments all the time of people saying, I don't think the quality of the pass-through is as good as you're saying it is. Or all these creators are making it out like this pass-through is life-changing, and honestly, it's not very good. Or people think it is very good, and then other people are arguing with them about it. Like, what is the issue with the pass-through? What is the controversy? And I will tell you what the controversy is. I'll tell you what's causing it. Two things. One, in terms of VR headsets, especially at this price range, this pass-through is fantastic. It's very, very, very good, but it does have its limitations. Now, the reason why it has limitations is that for a few issues that anyone would have with cameras in general, you're essentially having cameras around looking at the screen through cameras, which means if you are using this thing in low lighting conditions, guess what's going to happen to the image? It's going to get very grainy. So if you're using this at nighttime, where you just have like small lights in your house, the amount of brightness in your room is vastly lower than during the day when there's sunlight. So you'll probably find that you are finding these grainy situations and you're thinking, what, all these creators out there, that looked amazing on theirs. And there's two other reasons that you might think that. One, as a creator myself, when I am producing footage in general, I try to make sure there's good lighting. For example, I have a big light there shining on my face. Now, if I didn't have the light shining on my face, this video would look quite grainy. It wouldn't look as grainy because the cameras that I'm using are better than the pass-through cameras, but still, it would look a little bit grainy. Also, the cameras that they're using are not HDR, whereas your eyes are HDR, which means you can take in much bigger dynamic range with your eyes than those cameras can. So you are obviously going to be downgrading your vision. And lastly, the last thing is that the videos recorded that we put up as creators of mixed reality are far clearer than the actual reality of mixed reality, and there's a very good reason for that, and that reason is the lenses. When you're looking through lenses, there's always going to be a chance for blurring, a chance for it not being lined up perfectly, and a chance for things to look slightly worse than it would look like if you just had a completely clear image. So you might find that it looks blurrier, and that's probably because of the lenses and your IPD rather than it actually being different. You're having the same image played on your screens, however, when you just have it in front of you like this as a recording, it looks a lot clearer. I think that pretty much explains it all, and I think it summarizes it up. So you might be right in saying that it isn't as good as people make out. That's fair enough, because it probably isn't as good as it looks like when you're looking at videos of it on the phone. However, it is still very, very good, and if you're using it in bright lighting, which is I would recommend having bright lighting whenever you're using mixed reality, then you'll probably find you'll have a much better experience. Now, how do I use mixed reality on my Quest? There are a few ways. Most ways that you can do, and you'll probably see loads of people using it in various different ways. Some are just in reality are less likely to do. So, for example, I've mentioned how you can cook whilst using your headset and have a recipe on. In reality, I probably actually find it easier just to put a recipe on my iPad. If I didn't have an iPad, then maybe I would use the headset, but I just don't think to put my headset on. So those things, as much as they are cool and you can do things like cooking with it or using it as instructions for something that you're making, personally I don't use it for that. I use it for a couple of things, but not those. The first is games. Mixed reality games are slowly getting a lot better. For example, there are some local multiplayer games that you can use. I've featured a couple of them on the channel recently, like BAM and what's it called? Summit Party. It's a party game, and you basically have things going on in your room around you, and you can play. It's very, very cool. And there are also games, for example, things like Thrill of the Fight or Demeo, which are VR games, but you can do them in mixed reality. You can basically sit in your living room around a Demeo board and you can play games that way. Or for example, in Thrill of the Fight, you can have your boxing fight in your room, so you know if someone walks into the room, you're not going to punch them, you're just punching the person in VR. Now, something that actually does really excite me, and a game I'm planning on featuring on the channel as well, is a game called Shattered. This is a way that mixed reality games are just getting better and making use of the tools that you have. In a sense, what Shattered is that you basically put a big portal on one of your walls to this amazing escape room horror thing, and you can bring things from that space into your actual living room, and then you can be moving things around and interacting with those things, and it mirrors what's happening in the game. It's very, very, very cool. And because it's this sort of escape room thing, it's very, very compelling, and it just locks you in. Get it? Lock, escape room. So that's probably, I would say, the main way that I use mixed reality on the Quest. It's very, very fun. It's sort of a bit mind-blowing because you're doing things in your room, and there are tons of games out there that are making use of this feature. Now, one thing I actually really do like using mixed reality games for is when I'm showing people the headset. So there's two reasons for this. One, there is something mind-blowing about just straight up virtual reality. When someone first wears a virtual reality headset, they always have this sort of mind-blown, like, wow, this is crazy, because they're in a new world, and it's just incredible. So there's something I really love about that. However, one thing I think is an advantage of mixed reality instead of that is that people who aren't familiar with VR get a lot of comfort from being able to see what's going on around them. So there's been people that I've put into VR where normally they would sort of panic because they can't see where anything is. They get on a lot better with mixed reality. So that's another reason for having mixed reality games and experiences and showing people. And now the next thing that I tend to use mixed reality for is for entertainment. So for example, I will sit down and I'll put a big screen on and watch something. I'll watch Prime Video, for example. I'll watch YouTube. One thing I want to do, but I just haven't got around to do it, is getting some 3D movies, downloading them and putting them on the headset, because you can watch 3D movies in 3D from your headset. You just have to put the files onto the Quest 3. How cool is that? So if you want to do that, I'm going to be looking into it. Hopefully I'll make a video about it. If you want to see a video about it, put a comment down below and I'll see if I can do it. It'll be very, very cool. And the last way that I've used mixed reality that I think is very, very cool is for learning instruments. Now, I cannot say that I've learned piano with mixed reality. However, I have tried to learn piano with mixed reality, and it is very, very cool. There is an app that I've gone on, and it is called Piano Vision. It is very, very, very good. Essentially, it turns, instead of reading music, if you don't get on with the idea of reading music, which I think for most people they should probably try and get on, if they're going to learn piano, learn to read music. But if you don't get on with that, you can learn it in a sort of Guitar Hero-y type way where you're having notes come towards you in your headset and it maps to your actual piano. It's very cool. You can map a fake piano, you can link it to a real piano, you can put it on a MIDI piano so it actually inputs the notes that you're playing. It's just very, very cool. So that's my impressions of mixed reality on the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S. Are there any mixed reality experiences that you guys have that you want to share with people? I'd love to hear what they are, because I don't feel like I necessarily make the most of mixed reality just yet. So please share them with me in the comments below. And until then, I'll see you in the next one. Woo!